Hello everyone, my name is Kel Sounds, and today I want to show you how I made Welcome to the System. I posted this video yesterday, or Wednesday, there we go, yeah, I posted it Wednesday. But yeah, I want to show you guys how I made some of the stuff in here, such as this Reese Bass. Actually, before I start the video, I want to let you guys know that this Ableton project file is going to be exported as audio stems. So for my Sound Squad subscribers, they'll have access to the project file. Also, they'll have access to a sample pack that I created with this project file. And then they'll also have access to the Reese Bass preset. I actually did a little bit of editing and fixed some things up inside of here, and then saved it, so that way Sound Squad subscribers can have access to that. But yeah, so yeah, again, for Sound Squad subscribers, you'll have access to the project file, a 20 samples sample pack, and the Reese Bass preset. Alright, so let's start with this Reese Bass. This is kind of the first thing that I started with, actually. And I have an amp, an EQ8 with some automation. Inside of here, it's just a 2 unison voices, saw wave. Then I got some effects with distortion and some more post-processing stuff. Then some modulation, modulating a filter snap-in, and actually I think I showed this in the previous video, I'm not sure. Yeah, it's just modulating the filter snap-ins. And then the next thing that I went ahead and kind of built around was this guitar bass thing, which is also just the Reese Bass, except it doesn't have the 2 unison voices. It's just one sawtooth wave. Then I did some post-processing with an amp, an EQ, or yeah, an EQ8, a reverb, another EQ8. Yeah, basically just EQ'd it, compressed it. The main thing here is the amp, though, to give it a more aggressive sound. Then I went ahead and recorded my vocals over this because I thought it would sound pretty cool. I just wanted to get the idea out. I also want to apologize for my unorganized session here. The reason for that is because I just wanted to hurry up and get the idea out. It was like stuck in my head, and I knew if I took too long, it would escape. So yeah, I just wanted to get everything out as soon as I could. So I got the bass, and then I got the vocals, and then everything else surrounding it. That's always important. If you have an idea and like, you know, it's like, oh, I really need to get this out before, you know, it escapes my mind. You don't have to like be super organized. It's just go ahead and insert a MIDI track or an audio track, and it's good to get those ideas out as fast as possible. But yeah, anyways, after the guitar, I went ahead and recorded some vocals, and I put my radio voice Ableton rack over the vocals, so it sounds like this.
Welcome to the system. Please deposit everything you have.
Bear with the vocals, I'm a little bit cringe.
Suits and towers, counting gold, beating up the young and old, smiles fake, pockets deep, while the rest of us can't sleep.
And so for the vocals, I just did some post-processing. I added a shifter, an amp to kind of amplify my voice even more, or just distort it, a delay, and EQ8, and then I compressed the signal. Then I added another audio effect. This is just a shifter doing parallel processing with my regular voice, so it sounds like this. And then combined with my voice.
Suits and towers, counting gold, beating up the young and old, smiles fake, pockets deep, while the rest of...
And then together it sounds like... Okay, and then I have the snares over here. There we go. And I pretty much just layered that with a clap and some hi-hats. Then I added a reverb clap as well. And then for the drop, I also added a clap. So it was originally a snare, but I went ahead and layered these 2 claps that I drag and drop from previous sample packs that I've made. I really didn't like the way the snare sounded, so that's why I went ahead and just replaced it with a clap. And then this is the kick. just from a previous sample pack that I've made in the past. Then I have these hi-hats playing throughout the drop. This little percussion part right here. A little bit of ear candy going on. Also samples from previous sample packs that I've made. Now I want to show you the main basses, which is in the SC group, which just means sidechain. I'm going to have to organize this at some point. I did actually, when exporting the project into audio stems, I don't know why I just didn't do it for this project, or this version of the project. This bass is actually from once again, another sample pack that I've had. So this one shot is from a previous sample pack. I didn't like how it fit though originally in the track. So if I go ahead and group these audio effects, and without them, that sounds a little bit weak. There's not enough bass, so I decided I think I was going to put a multipass on this. So I'm just going to show you what's going on inside of this multipass. Basically a lot of distortion. I have the band splitting at 250 hertz. I added some distortion, added some more distortion with Saturator to add some color. Then I did a filter cutting around 20 hertz, a high pass filter actually, and then a low pass filter cutting around 250 hertz or 255 hertz. Then I added a stereo to put the bass in mono. Pretty aggressive. And then for the rest of the frequencies, or 255 and above, I added a dynamics, did some a little bit of upper compression. Then I added some effects like a flange, or added a flange effect. Then I did some post-processing with a 3-band EQ, dynamics, multipass OTT, a shaper, slice EQ. As you can see, I boosted the bass there. Did a little bit of a cut around the muddy frequency range, which is like 250 hertz. Then I added a limiter. Then after that, I also went ahead and added a snap heap with a gain snap in to control the volume of our bass one-shot. And so in order to do this, I had to send MIDI to this track with a empty MIDI track. So there's nothing in here. It's just MIDI shooting to the snap heap, letting it know to trigger this LFO that is then modulating the gain snap in. And so yeah, that's pretty much the main bass, and then I just dragged and dropped I think like 2 or 3 samples from the previous sample pack that was just originally this sample to get different variations. And then for this version of the Reese Bass, I kind of like the reverb effect that the Reese Bass adds. I think I'm going to call it Reese Sling, because it's just like slinging the reverb, or reverb Reese Bass. Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, it's pretty much all the same thing from the first Reese Bass in the intro of the video. It just has a reverb at the end of it, and then for the second part of the Reese at the end here, that's just pitched up by quite a bit, and I did some automation with the reverb. Also did some automation with the reverb on this part of the Reese Bass. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the track. Kind of just recap here. I started with this Reese Bass, and then I moved on to this bass guitar Reese Bass thing. Kind of just built off the first Reese. And I was like, oh snap, that would sound really cool with some rock vocals or whatever the heck. So I tried my best and recorded some vocals.
Welcome to the system. Please deposit everything.
And then pretty much after that, I just built around that with some drums. So I added the riser and then some like ear candy or some effects. And the last thing that I worked on was the drop. Actually, the drop took a while to work on. Usually I start with the drop so then I can work on the rest of the track. But I ended up working on this part of the track first, which was the intro. And that's fine, you know, whatever your workflow is. For some reason, personally, when I start with the riser or the intro of a song, I always struggle to come up with a drop. But luckily, I was able to come up with something that I was satisfied with. Actually, it was pretty close to scrapping the project. That's how frustrating it was. But then I was like, nah, I can come up with something. It was mainly just the bass, since it was already like processed. I kind of seen it as like polishing a turd with other effects to try and get it to fit this track. So I had to add a lot of stuff and cut out a lot of things to make it fit the track. But eventually I was able to make it work with the multipass, the effects on there, and then the snap heap, and then just doing some EQing. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one. Adios.